Yo, what's up, ProjectMoshPit? This is MapCRimSoNCobRa117 guy here. Battle for you guys. This battle is versus Sucker4Jessica in a standard OU 3rd gen match. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. I lead off with a no, he leads off with a Weezing. I lead off with a Gengar. I obviously have the advantage with the matchup. So he decides to switch out, goes into a Blissey. I predict a switch, and I go for the substitute. Now I go for Hypnosis on the Blissey, even though it has natural cure. Might as well put some to sleep. What's funny though is I actually used to have Focus Punch on this Gengar before I switched it with Hypnosis, but whatever. He switches out, goes into his Fortress. I stand and go for Thunderbolt, just, if he stays in, whatever, he's still asleep. And he'd probably switch anyways because he has Natural Cure, so I thought maybe I can get Thunderbolt on something pretty hard. But he ends up going into Fortress. And then we both double switch. He switches back out into his Blissey as I go into Magneton. Now, what sucks about this is that he now knows I have a Magneton, so the element of surprise is kind of gone. But I do predict either the Fire move, a Side Sweep Toss, or a Thunder Wave. So I go into my Dugtrio, which will easily take out a Blissey with a Choice Banded Stab Earthquake to a Blissey that has, like, no defense at all. So, Blissey dies, which is great. Obviously, I'm locked into Earthquake. There's no leftovers or anything on me, so he assumes I'm Choice Banded, which I am. And he goes into Salamence. Now, Salamence can get a easy, free Dragon Dance. However, though, Mence isn't really going to do anything to a Vaporeon. I think its strongest move, physically, is HP Flying, if you put into Stab and everything. So, obviously, that won't do anything. And I go for Ice Beam as he switches into a Medicham. Now, this Medicham, I don't know, I was predicting, I thought he would predict me to go into Gengar, but I don't know what he would use against me. But then he ended up going for Shadow Ball. I'm like, duh. Yeah, Shadow Ball. All Choice Banded ones, actually all Medichams in 3rd gen had Shadow Ball and High Jump Kick, so that was kind of stupid. But, I just go into my Dugtrio again, go for an Aerial Ace, and just take out that Medicham, because it's just that simple. So, he goes into Fortress now. Now, I know he knows that I have a Magneton, so I kind of thought he would predict me to go into Magneton and go into, like, Mence or something that would take my Magneton. But he ends up just staying in and go for freaking Light Screen. God. But, my Vaporeon can't really do anything to a Fortress, because all the attacking moves I have is Ice Beam, so yeah, I have to switch out, go into my Magneton. Now, I know Fortresses do have Earthquake, or commonly have Earthquake anyways. So I just go for Substitute just in case he does. Obviously, as you can see, he does. And yeah, so I'm kind of just forced to keep going for Substitute until his Light Screen wears off, and then once that happens, I can go for the HP Fire, which that will OHKO the Fortress. Now, he just goes for Spikes, thinking, alright, I might as well just go for Spikes and get something out of the deal, which is smart. And yeah, I just go for HP Fire, take out the Fortress, and next turn, now that his Light Screen is gone, and that is dead Fortress. So yeah, so it's actually right now it's 5-3. I'm looking pretty well, pretty good. I don't know. I'm not a grammar Nazi. And he goes into his Metagross. So I know he has a Metagross, a Mence, and a Weezing. Now I was thinking to myself, all right, I'll just go for a Thunderbolt here, do some damage to it, and then afterwards I'll go into my Dugtrio and take it out with a Banded Earthquake. However, he goes for Agility. Now, I did not think Kashif would be the type... Actually, no. Now that I think of it, Kashif would be the type of person that would run an Agiligros. But, nonetheless, this Agiligros is going to demolish half my team. Most Agiligroses have Earthquake, Rock Slide, Meteor Mash with Agility. I can't send in Dugtrio because if the Metagross is Jolly, he'll actually outspeed me. My Snorlax will probably get beat one-on-one. Moltres will die to Rock Slide, and Vaporeon can't do anything to it, because, like I said, all I have is Ice Beam. So, it looks like I'm going to get pretty much swept by a Metagross at this point. I go into Dugtrio because I really don't need it, and hey, if I'm faster than him, I'm faster than him, and a dead Metagross is dead, you know what I mean? So, yeah, but it turns out he is Jolly, so that's not the case. Now, I go into Vaporeon because what else can I do? Earthquake, Rock Slide, Meteor Mash. What could he use? You know what I mean? And then I realized that wait a minute, he might actually not have Rock Slide. Like, I haven't seen him have Rock Slide, and most of the Jilogrosses actually do have Explosion. So, thinking that he might actually have Explosion, I decided to switch out this next turn, and switch out to my Moltres. If he has Rock Slide, you know, I'm gonna lose anyways. So if he has Rock Slide, he can Rock Slide me. I go into Snorlax, it dies, and whatever. It's a good game. If he doesn't have Rock Slide, I can either take him out with a Fire Blast, or he goes for Explosion, which he does, and takes out my Moltres. So yeah, that was lucky. I am lucky that he had Explosion and not Rock Slide. But yes. So he goes into a Weezing. I go into my my Snorlax, my fat ass mofo. Which is a Curse-Lax, it's a Curse Rest Chesto with Return and Shadow Ball, because Shadow Ball was physical back in the day, if you kids did not know that. But, yes. He goes for the Will-O-Wisp as I go for Curse. He switches out, goes into a Smence as I go for Curse again. And here I go for Rest. Now, he goes for Rock Slide for whatever strange reason. I guess he just wants to flinch me to death, but that's not gonna work. But he does flinch me. And I go for Rest. Unfortunately, I didn't get my Rest last turn, and I could have gotten a Rest and then Cursed again without being burned, but now that he flinched me, not only did I take more burn damage, but I'm forced to Rest. And his Weezing is just going to burn me again, so I'm kind of just back to square one, pretty much. I go for a Return just to see how much it does, and it really doesn't do anything, because Weezing is a beast, to say the least. But, yeah, so he switches back out to Mence just to get some more intimidating on me. And, yeah, so I'm at +1 and burned, and then +3 defense. And I know Vaporeon can take out this Mence in one shot, so I decided just to switch to Vaporeon. As he goes for the Dragon Dance. And, basically something's gonna die. If he goes into Weezing, Weezing's gonna die to 3 Ice Beams. 3 or 4 or something, I don't know. And if he stays in, well, obviously Mence will die to an Ice Beam. So, he decides just to stay in, sack his Mence. Personally, I think that was the better choice. Because, let's be honest, a Mence versus a Curse-Lax isn't really gonna do much. So, yeah. That's that. So, he goes into Weezing. Bear in mind, this is the last Pokemon, and my last 2 is Vaporeon and Snorlax. I just keep going for Ice Beam. I was hoping, you know, I can just hit him a couple times with Ice Beam, kill the Weezing, and, you know, that's the game. Unfortunately, though, he goes for Thunderbolt, gets the Parahacks, and, you know, that is just going to make it much harder, because it's going to turn into a Curse-Lax versus a Weezing stall war for about 12 turns. Yes, so Vaporeon dies, and for the next about minute, it's going to be me cursing, resting, and him pain-splitting and Will-O-Wisping and Thunderbolting and whatever. Pretty much a stall war in every sense of the word. Not that long of a stall war, but a stall war nonetheless. But yes, but you know, that's kind of how 3rd Gen works. 3rd Gen is a very... it's not. I'm not gonna say it's not an offensive kind of metagame, but it's a very tankish kind of metagame. There's a lot of cursors, a lot of Calm Minders, stuff like that. A lot of bulky Pokemon in general, like Weezing and Snorlax. Actually, every single Pokemon we both had were OU, except for my Moltres. I think that's BL. But nonetheless, yeah. So he's just, like I said, Will-O-Wisping, and I'm cursing and resting, and I think this is the last rest I go for, because I am at +6. And at this point, I'm just going to try and break his sub and just KO him in one shot. So I go for Shadow Ball, breaks his sub. Obviously breaks his sub. As he goes for... Or no, wait. I go first. Duh. Okay, he goes for Substitute again. I go for Return. Just, you know, again, to break his sub. And sub breaks, and yeah. So I was hoping... If he goes for a Will-O-Wisp, he could miss, because if he misses, you know, that'll probably one-shot a Weezing, and game over, a good game. But of course, he has to hit me with the Will-O-Wisp, and I'm burned, and Return, even at +6, Stab Return does, like, 50%. I mean, Weezing is holy god of walls. I don't even know what to say about this. Like, Wheezing is just a beast. I wish I had one, but you know, whatever. He just goes for Substitute again. He does a Pain Split, and he's going to use that soon, next turn. And I'm pretty much just hoping I don't have to rest again, because if I have to rest again, that pretty much means that it's just going to be a PowerPoint stall. And nobody would like to watch a PowerPoint stall. But he goes for Pain Split, which, by the way, Pain Split's animation was really, really stupid in 3rd gen, but whatever. I go for Return, and pretty much just put him back where he was the previous turn, which is unable to make a substitute. He actually does go for Substitute this turn, but he actually doesn't have enough HP to make one, and yeah, that's the game. That's a 1-0. That was a really close match, Kashif. Really good game. If you guys like this battle, please click the like button. Both of our links, our YouTube links, will be in the description. And I hope you guys enjoyed this battle. I really do. You know, 3rd gen's just pretty cool, I think. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And comment, rate, subscribe, guys, and I'll see ya.